Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome back, everyone. A special warm welcome back to all of our video
warm welcome
watchers. Here we are at episode 220 of the Massenomics Podcast.
Would you say this is almost better in real life, Tanner?
This time it really is like it's better than what it's like in real life because we are back on video.
In real life.
In real life, yeah. It seems a little weird, doesn't it?
It actually feels really weird. We were trying to do the math here, but I think it's been 3.5 months-ish.
Yeah. So if you're a YouTube watcher of the show, which every show has been on YouTube since back as far as like episode 30, the first one we recorded with Nick Tyluki in St. Cloud, Minnesota, probably 3.5 years ago. Ever since then, they've all been on video. Over the pandemic, we kept putting them out on YouTube, but there was no actual video.
There was no motion behind it. It was a still.
But now it's back. So if you're someone that stopped watching on YouTube for that reason because you're tired of looking at that image of Beavis and Butthead wearing deadlifter and lift shirts, we're back on it.
And the YouTube crowd is a dedicated group.
It is. They're the first commenters. The first comment battle has not slowed down, though, with the...
Some things never change.
Yeah. So we are back in Massenomics Studio, though.
Yeah. We might have some major mistakes this episode because we're not used to seeing each other in person here.
I'm pretty used to just sitting in my own basement and
with your own
not
family
wearing
to worry
any pants.
about.
Yeah, wondering if my kids are going to come down the stairs and scream at me while I'm trying to record the podcast.
But not this time.
No. Before we get too much into that, let's hear from our sponsors. The setting may have changed, but our sponsors didn't. Today's show is brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large has set a new standard for customer service within the strength world. They have live website chat support and speedy email responses. Lifting Large is home of the Ground Lock Deadlift Slipper, and they are always in stock and ready to ship. Massenomics listeners can save 20% on all Lifting Large branded products by using our discount code MASS20 at checkout. Today's episode is also brought to you by Spud Inc. The goal of Spud Inc. straps is to make products that support sports performance and help everyone achieve their training goals. They make products that last forever, won't bust your budget, and most importantly, leave no doubt about success when everything is on the line. Make sure to check them out online at spud-inc-straps.com. The show is also brought to you by our friends at Hybrid Performance Method. They are your one-stop shop for all things fitness and online coaching. Whether your goals are training-related, nutrition and body composition-related, or both, Hybrid has a program for you. With dedicated and experienced coaches in each strength and fitness discipline, you can rest assured that you're in the best hands possible. We also have a discount code for you there. It's MASS, M-A-S-S, in all caps. That'll save you 5% off any training or nutrition memberships for the life of your membership. Visit hybridperformancemethod.com. This show is also brought to you by our friends at Texas Power Bars. In 1980, Buddy Caps, we weren't even born yet, Tommy. In 1980,
Before
Buddy Caps
we were alive.
set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with. And the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, world, and Massenomics powerlifting records have been set and continue to be set and broken on the legendary Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and to buy one of their bars, visit texaspowerbars.com.
Ooh.
Oh, just like riding a bike.
Just like that.
Actually, my page at home is covered with about 3 months worth of notes on it, so it's kind of weird looking at a fresh white sheet of paper. Yeah.
The funny thing, Tanner, one of the funny things about us recording in person again is that you show up to my house wearing the exact same shirt as me.
Yep.
It was just time. I think that's what that meant.
Serendipity.
But
not the exact same shorts, though.
Not the exact same shorts. I'm more of an original lift shorts guy. You're more of a 2.0 guy today, I guess. But besides that, almost all the same.
Yeah, so the lift shorts 1.0, the logo's on the right thigh, and on the 2.0, it's on the left thigh. Did you ever know that?
I did know that.
Yeah,
but
right.
I kind of forgot about it, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, at some point, we did have to tell them what thigh to put it on.
Yeah,
so we did make the
right,
decision, but here it's hard to because we have the other logo.
Don't want to cover up the champion logo.
It doesn't work there. But Tanner, you are here in person, and that means that we have to return to a certain segment.
I've literally been waiting months for this segment.
And I don't want to.
Is this one where I need to not look?
I don't want you to look, and I don't want to overexcite you, but this is what's in that can, and this is one of my new favorite flavors of all time. I'm not even saying one of my favorite flavors. This is one of the best flavors. Did you just get
turned on by it in this?
Just in the last couple weeks here, and it has not disappointed me yet. So let's. There's your can, and we are going to get right into this here. Oh God, it's been a long time.
Have not
been a long
done
time
this
since we did that on air.
Yeah.
Every time.
Oh, God, I think I know what it is right away.
You think so?
Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think you're probably gonna be right.
First of all, I can tell again by the pop top that it's a buble.
Yes, that is correct.
And by the flavor,
that's a man of experience talking right there.
That's strong flavor. Also indicating that it's a buble and not a La Croix or an Aha, which we haven't had yet.
No.
I think it's cherry flavored. I think it's a cherry buble.
You know, Tanner, you came into my house for the first time in a long time. I wanted to throw you a softball. This is cherry.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good, isn't it?
It is good. I like this flavor.
I will be the first to say, I don't really care for a lot of cherry flavored things that make me think of poorly flavored medicine.
Right.
But this is good for some reason. I really like this.
Yeah, I like cherry flavored stuff kind of, and I do like this. This is probably the easiest one there's ever been. Where it's
I was wondering if maybe you'd say strawberry or something, but you did get it.
That cherry really pops.
It does. It certainly
just kind of pop.
It certainly does pop.
We just popped the cherry.
Yesterday, I had to. I have a newborn son here going on.
I remember hearing something about that.
A little over 2 weeks.
I just got to meet him for the first time.
You did get to meet him.
I think he liked me. We really had something.
He was asking you a lot of questions.
Yeah,
he was pretty interested in what you had going on. So I think you guys really hit it off. But he had a newborn photo shoot yesterday. And
not by you though.
Not by me. It was a actual photographer. And while we're in the photographer's studio, she says, "I have a beverage fridge over there. Go help yourself, guys." And I go in, and right away there's some sparkling waters. And I'm actually, no, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. My wife was there first, and she already had one. And then I was tasting it, and she goes, "Oh, yeah, there's a beverage fridge. Help yourself." So I go over, and there's lemon and grapefruit. Now, the hardcore listeners of the show would know that lemon and grapefruit are two of my favorite sparkling water flavors of all time.
Yep.
Commoners would say grapefruit. The more sophisticated
I was going to say
pamplemousse.
I was going to say grapefruit. What are you, a heathen?
Yeah. And so I opened the fridge and I said, I told her that. I said, lemon and grapefruit, these are my two favorite sparkling water flavor, or two of my favorite sparkling water flavors. And she looked at me like I was just making that up. I'm like, no, I'm serious.
Did you tell her we have an entire show where we grade them?
She goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah, this might sound weird, but I actually record a podcast weekly with my friend. And we talk about our favorite sparkling, like we have a segment where we talk about sparkling waters."
Yeah.
And I tasted it.
Was it like, when you told her that, was it like crickets chirping?
I think she probably thought I was actually messing with her still.
Yeah.
And I tasted it, and I can't even remember what the brand was. I'd never heard it or seen it. And it was the lemon one. I said, it is a very strong lemon flavor. It lacks a little bit of the sparkle bubbly, a little bit of the zest, but the lemon flavor was there. And you could just tell she was like, "Why are you saying any of this? This makes no sense."
And then you're like, "I would maybe give it 3 J.D. Power and Associates awards." And she's like, "What?"
I was going to go into the thing of how we have a rating system. Yeah. We usually give it a J.D. Power and Associate. And I was like, that will completely lose her. So,
yeah.
Yeah, this is what's in that can.
Yeah.
I would give this a 5 J.D. Power and Associates award. That is how much
5.
That is how much I do enjoy the
best in class.
This is best in class cherry flavor without a doubt. It might be best in class buble even.
Yeah, geez.
That's how much I like it.
Yeah, 5's a strong rating.
Yeah.
I would give it a 4.
That's
so
pretty solid still.
Show wide, it's getting a 4.5. That's pretty high rated.
That basically is.
It is good. This is almost like where you could sit down and drink more than one of them, where you're like, "Oh, that is refreshing."
I have done it recently, Tanner. I mean, that's how hardcore I'm into this cherry,
I hear you.
Yeah, so here we are. We just got stuff to talk about.
And we even wore matching shirts for the occasion. Both were in the buddy.
One thing I wanted to follow up on, I feel like I'm just lounging, like just sitting here chatting. Here we go. I hope this could be like a 3-hour episode. I hope everyone's ready for this.
This is like, I think we may do quite well, right? Like the show, if you're a listener to the show, I don't think the anything went down quality or like
I don't think so. I think there's a good chance
hilariousness.
that you might not have even known
Yeah.
unless we made a mention on other episodes that we weren't together.
But
Like,
there is something about
the timing, that's the
Yeah.
big one, because we were always talking over FaceTime. So there's always just that slight bit of delay when you have someone. And then also, you know, you have AirPods in, and depending on
Yeah.
whatever delay's happening there, like sometimes I can see you're reacting, but then like the volume isn't quite coming, or
Right.
it's like boosting in and out at different volumes. So
Yeah.
there always is. It's just, it never compares to an in-person podcast. But
I also didn't get a haircut since we last recorded. So
I was gonna say it looks
getting
kind of
pretty
long.
shaggy.
Yeah.
And how yours seems like it got long too.
I have not got a haircut either, but that's a whole other conversation. I do have some follow-up. I want to just jump into it, Tanner. Last week we mentioned the TV show The Prophet. Well, now this is a guy that's watched a lot of The Prophet in the last
Oh,
week.
nice.
I was counting today. When you have a baby, you realize there's only so much a baby can do. We're not playing catch yet. I mean, we're
Right.
trying, but we're not playing catch yet. So a lot of that just involves...
You're not throwing rock hard baseballs at him to see.
He can't catch a fastball yet, but a lot of that involves just a TV's always on.
Right.
So I think over the course of the last week, I have seen all or most of like 25 episodes of The Prophet. So I've seen a lot of it.
Yep.
Now, I still stand by my recommendation. I do think it is a good business show. He's a straight shooter. I think he gets results. I think he knows what he's doing. Pretty much everything he does, in my limited experience, I think is good sound advice. Where this gets interesting and where it ties into last week is, did you know there's an episode of The Prophet with Rob Dyrdek on it?
No, I did not. I haven't seen The Prophet for quite a while. So
And Rob Dyrdek was a over/under topic last week.
Right. Were you when that came up? Did that hit you right away?
Because it was one of the first few that I watched.
And they were playing spike ball.
yeah, they played spike ball, yeah, all that stuff. But he tried to, Marcus Lemonis, the prophet.
Yeah.
He tried to save this longboard company,
Sure.
longboard company out of like Denver or Colorado Springs. I think it was Denver. And it was a look back. They were doing commentary on the episode. And so to have him, the person he did commentary with, it's his producer, the TV show producer, and Rob Dyrdek, who I guess is his friend, and they
Okay.
do stuff. And in that episode, actually, Rob was one of like the consultants or guys that he brought to it.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things where Rob was like, oh yeah, you were all wrong on this. This isn't right. You did this wrong. But it is funny to see, like, just like that, there's
Right.
overrated, underrated coming in. And I haven't seen anything with Rob Dyrdek in years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the last time I did. So to have his name be brought up twice in a week was quite the surprise.
That's 5 degree. It's the 5 degrees of separation from anything in overrated, underrated.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It is a little bit. So what else do we got this week, Tanner?
We're wearing the shirts. Have you been keeping up on the Massenomics Madness bracket?
It is. Yep.
It's the final four.
I wouldn't say
today.
my bracket's been busted yet, but there's been a few things that we have the inside track because we know how sales go
Right.
versus how votes go.
Right.
And there's a few to me where I'm like, people might say this one's more
Right,
popular.
right.
People are voting for this one more,
Yeah.
but their
They don't
wallets
vote with their
Their
dollars.
wallets
Yeah.
vote the other way in that
Right,
case.
right.
And that just goes to show again that public opinion doesn't actually translate to sales
Not
very often.
perfectly. Not perfectly, I wouldn't say.
So that was probably the biggest surprise to me in the whole
Yeah.
thing. But for the most part, I think if you looked at the 16 shirts, we would have. If you said pick the top 5, we would have for sure gotten 3 of them, if not all of them.
Well, I know that I'm kind of right in that because I selected the seating,
mean,
and
yeah, you did do the seating,
like,
yes.
but that was kind of based off sales, and the sales was a big part of the seating for sure. But it is funny how certain shirts, even if they didn't win the vote to move on, they just have almost like a little bit of a cult-like
They
following.
do, absolutely.
Like the Jefferson deadlift shirt, I do not think made it out of the first round, but that might have been one of the most common ones I heard people say, like, that should be the number one, or that, like, because that particular shirt, it may not be loved by all of our followers, but
the
it
people
has
that like it,
yeah.
they'll like it.
Also, the other thing I took from it is that we might have to bring back Massenomics as numero uno for a short period of time,
did we
because
get some
quite a few
pretty
people
positive
saying
feedback
that they really want, because that one's been so long, a lot of the people that follow us said probably never been exposed to that one much before. So
Yeah, if you got that shirt and you're a fan of Massenomics still, then you've been in this thing. You've been in this thing a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done the finals yet. The Final Four voting was today, but it looked to me like it was going to be the lift shirt over the deadlifter, so the lift shirt would take on. And then it was really close to 50-50 with the bench heavy and the Yeah Buddy. Last I looked, like Yeah Buddy was at 52%.
Okay.
So it looks like it might be the 3 seed Yeah Buddy over the 2 seed bench heavy.
Yep. Yeah. And I could see that. Probably the biggest surprise to me is I would have said like, I could see how Don't Curl Me would make top 4, Final Four.
And that was a very tight matchup with a 4 seed Don't Curl against 5 seed deadlifter, and the deadlifter won by like 52%.
Yeah, that was
also.
to me probably the biggest upset of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think so. And the new 8-bit shirt did not make it out of the first round, but I think a big reason for that could just be how new it is. It just does not have the exposure yet, because I kind of expected that one.
I thought that would have made it out of the first round, but I also think it is.
That,
it just hasn't been around long enough.
It's so new.
Yeah,
very cool shirt though. By the way, the 8-bit.
It's been selling really good. A lot of sizes are out of stock. I'm sure by the time this is out, probably even more sizes are out of stock. But we will get a restock going here at some point. So,
yes,
along with lots of other goodies, like always.
We do have a lot of goodies coming up. The other thing I had thought about too is our Massenomics Podcast supporting membership. Not going to reveal the surprise, but just to give you a taste of what we've done in the past for the people is the first group that had signed up, I think they all got sent the Lift vinyl decal prior to them, or maybe right about when they very first went for sale. Mm-hmm. All the podcast people that were doing recurring podcast supporting memberships got one of those out front, and we do have another plan for everyone that signed up. So I would say if you're not signed up as a supporting member now, you're going to want to do it within, like, shortly after the time of hearing this, because there's probably going to be something in the future here, and everyone that signed up, regardless of how long you've been signed up for, is going to be able to cash in on it.
And that's just one of the benefits of being a supporting member.
Right.
Is it, like we said, it's not a one-way relationship. We are sending little gifts and surprises your way. So
yes. So, and there's the 3 levels, of course. There's the 99-cent per month apple pie level, the $3 per month LaCroix level, and the $6 per month high roller lift shorts level.
And I think people understand that without even saying. I mean, the high roller is kind of redundant.
It's not, one and the same.
People
really.
just get it, but
yes, exactly.
Wow.
We do have other important news. There's a lot of different things that were racking around my brain on. Yeah, I sold the Buick, Buick.
Okay, yes. So this is the other thing we have to talk about. Yeah. So it's kind of weird having a podcast where we talk about the finer things in life, like lift shorts and LaCroix, sparkling waters, and now we don't have a Buick owner on the show.
It's like a piece of me
kind of feels like
gone.
We're posers now.
Yeah, a piece of me is certainly left with me when I sold the Buick. I made sure it went to a good home, though. Everyone would be happy to know that.
And unsurprisingly, there was an incredibly high demand for it, too. Like
that's not even a joke.
That's not a joke. People wanted that thing.
I listed it on Saturday evening. I washed it, cleaned out the inside, had just put one new tire on it because one kept going flat. So I was like, I'll spruce this up a little bit.
Yep.
Got all the check engine lights off and listed it on Facebook Marketplace on Saturday evening. By Sunday morning, I had like 10 people message and 4 or 5 people lined up to come Sunday. The first one at 8:30 Sunday morning. They wrote a check for it on the spot for my asking price, and it was gone.
The last time I made $2,500 that quick was when I sold that pair of lift shorts.
Exactly. So you can either sell Buicks or lift shorts to rake in money like that.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I had the Buick all the way paid off, so it was just like money in my pocket.
After 8 years, you finally got the
I just made the last payment.
The bank finally didn't own it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no more Buick, though.
The end of an era, you could say.
Maybe I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for like that right next Buick that pops up in the marketplace.
The new Buick.
Yeah. Something with a little lower miles.
This is all part of a bigger plan to get a newer Buick, right?
Right. Exactly.
If only they made that Buick truck. Could knock out 2 birds with 1 stone on
Now
that.
that would be
That would
quite
be
the
thinking.
That would kill both my birds with 1 stone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was the Buick news. Weather-related news. I know we mentioned it on last week's episode how windy it was.
It's been even
It
more
has-
windy.
This is like the windiest stretch that I almost recall in my life.
It
Where
is.
it's just constantly every day insanely windy. Like where it's like blowing tree branches down
like
every day.
like dust storms, tree
Yeah,
branches,
constantly.
Yeah, it's been some crazy wind.
It's like unrelenting though, just like for 10 straight days.
like
it's
not
been
even at it's like it's not even
gusts
going
of
down
50
at night.
miles an
Like,
hour.
You know, for the most part, I think it's everywhere in the country. You know, you usually have lower wind at sunset and sundown. I don't
Right.
know what the science is behind it, but usually sunset and sundown, there's almost no wind. Here, I think it might even pick up at sunset and sundown.
It just never really stops.
No,
like
it
you go
doesn't.
to bed
all
and you
night,
wake up.
all day.
Yeah.
You basically can't be outside because you can't hear people. Like you can't. We were on a walk the other day. My wife, I had the dog. I was like maybe 10 feet from my wife, and we couldn't hear each other. It's just
Yep.
that windy.
Yep.
So there's our
weather update.
Our weather update. Yep, got to get that one knocked out too. What else was on the list here, Tanner? I mean, we have our topics for the episode. We could start to just jump into those if we wanted, unless we have any other housekeeping.
There
things.
was. It's so tough because it's just been so while. Maybe we podcast reviews have ticked up a little bit again this week. I see we're up to 218 now.
Ooh.
So to keep everyone abreast on the running total, 218. It's crazy how far we jumped over 200 and how like 300 is going to be so in reach at
How
some
just
point in time.
a few weeks ago we were a little over 150.
Right. Yeah, and here we are. I mean,
So are we going to read those now or later?
do we want to read any here? We could read a couple.
We got to read a couple, otherwise we're
Okay.
going to get behind.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
We owe to get those in.
Yeah, you've got a good point.
Don't want to dig too deep of a hole.
No, and I didn't do a good job. I usually screenshot these ahead of time to make sure that let's see. Got to remember what the last one was that we read. I think here we are. We read Poon Slayer 69X. I know that one.
Yep, classic.
I think we did How Many Pods Could a Podcast Cast?
Mm-hmm.
I think here we are. This is from Adrian A. Title is Apple Pie Flavored LaCroix. They say before listening to
could
this
be onto something there.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Before listening to this podcast, I knew how to get strong. The real trouble was staying strong and using my strength. I'm happy to announce that they've made things better than they are in real life, and I'm looking forward to what they do and all the rest.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's a guy that gets it.
Yes, he does. Joe E228. Congrats on the new baby. I don't know which one of us he's referring to.
I'll just assume
both.
it's me.
It's
I'll
just
say
both
thank
of us.
you.
He's congratulating both of us.
Yeah.
It wasn't our baby, if anyone's confused on that. I too was conceived while my parents listened to the podcast. Glad to have this tool if we ever need to repopulate the earth. Good point.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just read one more for today. How's that?
Triple threat. I
Yep.
like it.
This is from 22_Jake.the_snake.
I might know who this is.
You do. The title says from the Supreme Ambassador. I'm going to assume the rest of it says
What?
of Oklahoma.
Okay.
I can't read it. From the Supreme Ambassador of Oklahoma.
That's a high-ranking official.
Right. Yeah. I don't know where they sit relative to president, but
It sounds more official than president.
Yeah. Okay, buckle in for this one. I wrote the 4th ever review on this podcast over 4 years ago. I felt as though it was only fitting as we hit this momentum occasion of 200 Apple Podcast reviews to go back and revisit my own review. Boy, how the times have changed. What started out as a few dudes sitting around talking strength stuff has truly metamorphosed. Maybe that's a word, but I'm going to say metamorphed because I know what that word means. Metamorphed into a couple dudes talking about less strength stuff, LaCroix, and lift shorts. The amount of growth this channel has seen has been staggering to say the least. You never know what the lifting podcast about nothing is going to bring you each week. but you can be guaranteed that it'll be week old and generally irrelevant by the time you hear it. Truly one of the best ways to start your Monday morning, as it is like a warm LaCroix for your ears. You just need to remember to get strong, stay strong, and use your strength, and you'll be just fine. # stay crispy.
That's good. Yeah. And you know he's been in it for the long haul because he was not the Supreme Chancellor of Oklahoma.
No, not 4 years ago.
And now he's elevated to that position.
I like you don't know what you're going to hear, but you can be guaranteed that it'll be a week old and generally irrelevant.
Yeah, sums it up pretty good.
I'm guessing he probably had to steal his wife's phone or something to make that second review. So that would be my recommendation to people. If you've already left a review.
How to double dip in the system here?
You could certainly be stealing your significant other's phone, or if you have children that have phones.
Well,
or
and if you don't have a significant other, this is a great excuse to look for that special person.
That's true. So you can leave a second Apple Podcast 5-star review on the Massenomics Podcast. That would be the real main reason to do it.
That would be a great icebreaker alone. You just bring that up. They'll understand right away.
That's why I got married.
Yeah. That's why most of us got married, actually, for that sweet second review.
Yes, that's it.
Wow. Well, that was good. That was good. The rest of our topics are fairly big, so I think I'm going to do ads right now.
Do ads, and then we can get on because we've got kind of several actual lifting topics to cover today too.
So we got the catch-up part taken care of. So yeah, we'll do the ads, and then we'll get into the lifting part.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for this, Tanner?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Today's show is brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large sets the new standard for customer service within the strength world. Get email responses in hours, not days. They now have live website chat support available during the weekdays, so you can get advice from a real powerlifter with actual platform experience. The Lifting Large team wants to help you achieve new PRs in the gym and on the competition stage. When you're ready to try single ply and make your way to the dark side, give them a call. Lifting Large is home to the Ground Lock deadlift slipper, and it's always in stock and always ready to ship. Massenomics listeners can save 20% on all Lifting Large branded products by using discount code MASS20 at checkout. That's MASS20 to save 20% on all Lifting Large branded items. Place your orders at liftinglarge.com, and you can follow them on Instagram at liftinglarge.com. That's at liftinglarge.com. The Massenomics Podcast is also brought to you by Spud Inc. and the Spud Inc. Dip Belt. Yes, there is nothing like pulling out that grungy, stinky leather dip belt your gym has lying in the corner that pinches your hips every time you use it, but why bother when you can have your own Spud Inc. Dip Belt? Their dip belt this dip belt won't hold on to your training partner's nasty body odor while saving your hips from future bruises. The Spud Inc. Dip Belt is built from comfortable but extremely durable webbing that won't break down no matter how much weight you add. The Spud Inc. Dip Belt comes with 2 feet of chain and 2 spring clips for adding weight. You can check out the Dip Belt online at spud-inc-straps.com. And today's show is brought to you by Texas Power Bars. Buddy Caps first started lifting weights in the late 60s and began powerlifting in the mid-70s. At the time, he was working for Image Barbell building gym equipment. Around 1976, a local machine shop started making Olympic bars for them, calling it the Image Bar. In 77, Image Barbell became Champion Barbell, and it was then that Buddy started looking at the bars with an intent of changing them for the better. In 1979, Buddy bought his first lathe and began addressing the known issues. In 1980, his passion, drive, and purpose now had a greater mission. Buddy set out on his own to make what he believed was the greatest bar he had ever seen and trained with, and the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house with the best knurling and was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, Massenomics, and world powerlifting records have been and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and buy one of their legendary bars, visit texaspowerbars.com. And finally, we have Hybrid Performance Method. If you've been training without a coach and have been looking for a competitive edge, remember to check out hybridperformancemethod.com. Hybrid has 15 different strength and fitness programs covering everything from powerlifting and strongman to gymnastics and general fitness, all included in one training membership. That's not all. Hybrid also offers one-on-one personalized nutrition coaching that uses lifestyle habits and a flexible approach to shape your nutrition plan around your current lifestyle, instead of turning your lifestyle upside down in order to support unsustainable habits that only work in the short run the way most programs do. If you're ready to take your training, nutrition, or both to the next level, use code MASS, that's MASS, in all caps, for 5% off membership to all programs for the life of your membership.
All right.
Thank you to our sponsors. Tanner, was it a lot more exciting getting to hear those in real life?
It was. It's like you make things better than they are in real life, actually.
It's kind of a recurring topic of this show, you could say.
Making everything better than it is in real life.
That's right. There was a podcast recently that had a notable strength figure on it, and
yes,
that was the Joe Rogan Podcast. I go through streaks with the Joe Rogan Podcast. He's actually a guy we seem to bring up on the show every so often, but I haven't listened for several months now. I just have been out of the loop with most podcasts lately, actually. But I saw one pop up on my feed for Ronnie Coleman, and I thought, this is the one I need to get back into.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna say that I'm the world's biggest Ronnie Coleman fan, or even like that I follow him super closely, especially nowadays. But as anyone involved or anyone that has spent some time in a gym, you just gotta love Ronnie, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's pretty universally liked,
I don't know
right?
how you couldn't.
No.
And if you're not familiar, you just gotta check out some of the videos on YouTube, and that will like erase his training videos in that gym in Texas. Those are like the bread and butter videos of anyone that wants to go to the gym, right?
Yeah, Metroflex. And
like those
Houston,
are all-time classics.
They are. Like as far as YouTube videos go about lifting, like the one
doesn't
with him,
get much better.
Obviously, the one him screaming, "Yeah, buddy," lightweight like 30 times, and he deadlifts 800 for a couple, and he squats it for like 3, and then he does like 2,600 pounds on the leg press, and that video. Like, I don't know anyone that hasn't seen. I bet there's not anyone that listens to this that hasn't seen that video.
Yeah, and still his physique then just doesn't make any sense either. How small his waist is, how big he is.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole thing is just crazy. And he's got the amount of weight he's handling, the fact that he has like wraps on his knees.
Yep,
and
yeah.
I mean, it's like he's prepping for a powerlifting meet.
Right.
And he's deep into the prep. So the whole cruise, the clothes that the rest of the people have on, the gym itself, the whole thing. It's
there's about 10 sayings that come from like that one video that I hear people say like almost on a weekly basis, around the gym
to
and
this
stuff like
day.
that. Yeah,
yes.
right.
And I think that's probably, if that's not happening in your gym, you're probably not going to a good gym. That's almost like one of the unofficial metrics for how good your gym is how many of those sayings can be overheard in any given session.
Right.
But so the Ronnie Coleman interview, right away, I would say it's about what you would expect. If you follow Ronnie at all, there's nothing really in here that's surprising. It's like, if you keep up with him today, it's going to be talking a lot about injuries.
Yeah.
And that is, Joe spent a lot of time asking about that, like to the point where I almost wanted to skip past it because he talks about it for so long, but he's had like 13 back surgeries between
like
back
every
and neck.
vertebrae and neck is like
According to what he
fused
said,
and-
every one of his vertebrae except I think one is fused together. I didn't even think that would. It seems like from a physiological standpoint that shouldn't be possible. I'm not sure if he has that completely right or not, but
that's almost a theme a little bit of listening to him is, some of the stuff. And it's like, after 13 surgeries, I might not have all the facts correct even, and keeping that all straight to what's going on.
Yeah. And it's going back like, I think
2007 or something
12,
like
13
that.
years too. So it's a lot of surgeries over a lot of years. I'm sure he's forgot the details of some of them. I don't know how you could keep it all straight at that point, but
No.
Some of the bolder claims was that yes, every vertebrae in his back and neck is fused now.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. He can't, what do you say? He can't walk or whatever for like more than 10 minutes or can't stand for more than 10 minutes, something like that.
That he's in a wheelchair quite a bit,
He's in
or
a wheelchair.
his crutches.
And like I'd seen, there's that documentary, The King.
Yeah.
I think is that what it's called?
Whatever it is. Yeah.
That kind of woke me up to most of Ronnie's situation right now. But his attitude is surprisingly positive.
He's pretty good.
Because his whole thing is, as long as I can lift, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So he's still lifting. But you want to almost think like, is there maybe another doctor that could help you? Because
that was a surprising part to me when Joe's like, how many doctors have you been to? And he's
just
like,
my
one.
And I was like, whoa, I don't know. I feel like after I mean, even before the first one, I would have been thinking I need a second opinion.
Yeah,
and then the third
I
and
agree
fourth and
with
fifth
that.
and sixth, that gets a little scary.
I had that same thing where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's only been to one doc, like in his hometown, like.
That was one of the more shocking comments is when he said just one. And Joe's like, oh, I got some guys that could probably help you that I know of.
I hope that he
people.
does like set him up with some people.
Well,
that
yeah,
can,
and I think everyone wants to see Ronnie be healthy and be good, but you wonder at this point, like how much damage has been done after 13 surgeries and 13 plus, well, I don't know how many vertebrae there are, but that many fusions. Ugh, they might be past the point of no return for some of this stuff.
Right.
So that sucks, but
it will be nice. Like Joe obviously probably has some serious resources and connections and stuff.
I would imagine between just him being a incredibly successful person and then like UFC, like
right.
I would think he has some connections, yes, that he could help him out. But so after like the first 30 or 40 minutes, when they're done talking about that, they start to go into other things. One of the ones that really surprised me was his talk about steroid use.
Yeah.
And Joe was just like, what were you on? And he goes, not that much stuff,
like
really.
Testosterone and D-ball, I think, is he kind of said those things once.
And did he say, how did you get it? And he goes, we got prescriptions.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that was a thing. Like strongman kind of went through that stage of like, they were trying to crack down. Like what was that in the late 90s, early 2000s when Pujanowski got like
in trouble for like cocaine or something.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I don't think he actually.
It wasn't performance enhancing
he
drugs?
didn't get in trouble for performance enhancing drugs.
Okay, so there was some drug testing going on there, but he did say that like was it the DEA was like looking into it, and so he said they all had to go get prescriptions, so they all went to their doctors and got prescriptions for steroids, and he did make it sound like it was a fairly controlled thing because they could get searched and they had to provide prescriptions to prove that they could legally have this stuff.
It seems maybe that's all true. I don't know.
I'm sure there's some component of truth to it.
Right.
I also don't think he's telling 100%.
Right. Like, but I mean, I get it too. Like,
I don't think anyone is.
Well, I was meeting this guy in the alley.
I don't think anyone is ever going to know exactly what he's on besides him and his nutritionist.
What I like the most about what he talked about with the steroid use is explaining this, which I think a lot of people, especially people that aren't that into lifting, get this confused. I believe him when he says this. He did not take steroids until he was 30 years old.
He was 30 years old, yes.
At which point in time, he already had 22-inch arms.
Yes, that was shocking to me, was him saying that. I didn't realize he got into bodybuilding that late.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like, what was it? Did it take him, was it 2 years from the time he started bodybuilding to the time where he became Mr. Olympia?
Yeah, it was a couple.
That is insane.
And he was only doing it because
for a free gym membership, essentially.
But he wasn't taking any that whole time. And people like to say, well, yeah, but they're, the old thing, well, yeah, but he's on steroids. But Ronnie,
he's very into my genetics got me here.
And that's a pretty like I don't think everyone would say that, where he's like, no, I have. Because he's not saying I just outworked everyone. Like, that's not necessarily his claim. It's like, I worked hard. I took some steroids. I had a nutrition coach. But
and I also have the best genetics.
Yes, my genetics are, like, perfectly designed for that, which I think is a really true, accurate statement. Like,
and I think he even says, like, look at, like, all these other people, like, different powerlifters and strongmen. Did he say like baseball or something too?
I think he was talking about those guys.
And he goes, none of them even looked anything remotely like me.
Well, and Joe was like, well, they don't want to look like you. Talking about the baseball players, they don't want to be. And I'm like, yeah, and I think Ronnie's right. He's like, it doesn't matter if they want to or not. Like Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco wanted to be big. I think there's no doubt about, like, they were trying to get jacked, which they were, but even with their genetics, they're not going to look like Ronnie Coleman.
No, it's just never going to happen.
Right.
And so I thought that was good that he was, some people would be like, oh, no, that's not how it works. But no, he is Ronnie Coleman.
Yes.
Like, how many other people you could eliminate all the other variables if you could run the craziest science experiment? So many people would never, ever, ever, ever get to that point.
Right.
Or even close to that point.
Yes, exactly. The other thing he talked about that we've mentioned is the body fat thing.
Yeah, so Joe starts asking about his body fat. And he would say, did he say that he would walk on stage at like 0.3%?
Yeah, I know he threw that out one time that he measured at 0.3.
Yeah, 0.3, and then he would say he would walk around, I think, at 3%. And those are one of the ones you're like, I think his numbers
is that
are
does that match up with what science tells us even?
That's what I think his numbers are mixed around. He said something about being measured like in a pool where they, they do the body fat. And he said, I think he came in at negative body fat. Yeah. I get it. The machine probably isn't calibrated to capture someone like his, but yeah, the body fat thing wasn't quite right on that. I'm not sure how much of that discussion was rooted in science.
I don't think it probably all completely was.
Yeah, and that was the majority. At the end, they talk about cops. It still is very, very funny to think about Ronnie Coleman being a cop. That idea just doesn't
and his
still
tailored,
make sense to
his
me.
tailored uniforms. And
And he makes it sound like they had some pretty strict standards to be a cop. Like you had to have a 4-year degree.
I did think that was interesting, actually. He made it sound like the department he worked for was pretty
strict. He said if you got a complaint filed against you, he said they would take one. He said another complaint. They're like, we're not dealing with this. You're fired. Yeah.
And they have to have a 4-year degree in order to be there.
Yeah. So it's... I can't think of Ronnie Coleman being a cop without thinking about the shorts, like his uniform, the shorts. Like, it's just so
ridiculous.
There's no way you would think like getting pulled over by this guy. Like this is like, am I getting pranked right now?
Right.
Everyone would think that now.
Yes.
But, yeah, Ronnie the cop. So yeah, if you're a fan, I would recommend listening to it.
I really like Ronnie Coleman. He's one of those guys we've never gotten to meet in person. His booth. I assume he was going to be at the Arnold this year. I'm not sure if he makes a trip or not, but his booth was not that far from ours. So I was kind of hoping to be able to, like one morning or something, be like, hey, hey, Ronnie, can I get a picture or something?
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
He would definitely be on the bucket list of people we haven't met before. Like Jay Cutler was
We saw him walk by.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
But you're not a 6'5" giant.
No.
Just kind of a regular man.
But Ronnie would be really fun to meet, I think.
Yeah. Yep, that would be really cool.
So that's Ron.
That's Ron.
Ronnie Bear.
We have moving right along through our agenda here.
Next thing already.
Next on the list, we have you wrote this one down.
Yeah.
Luke Richardson.
Luke the future Richardson.
And he's been hiding in the shadows. You said his name right away, and I know the name, and I couldn't think of it, and then I realized, he hasn't posted anything on Instagram in quite a while.
He has been now. For those that don't know, Luke Richardson was a young, I think probably junior IPF powerlifter.
Yeah, like 20, I think, or 19.
Yeah. And was he Great Britain or?
I think Great Britain. I did him. There's another guy. Is it like Pavlo or someone? There was two guys that were both big, like juniors, and then they both kind of disappeared. And I keep getting them mixed around, and
Richardson.
I mean, he was. It seemed like if he was going to stick the IPF route, he would be giving Ray Williams a run for his money in the coming years. Like that didn't seem.
And I still think that probably could have been true. I think probably part of the big change is he wanted to take drugs, and maybe he wants to make money. So then he had switched over to the strongman route, and I don't know if or how much. I don't follow him that close, or I hadn't been until recently. If he's done any strongman competitions yet, or if he's strictly just been training for it, but he is insanely strong now. Like,
because I think I think in the IPF he had like, assuming he was drug free, then I think he had like an 800 and some pound deadlift then.
Yeah. So he's been putting up his training videos of like his log pressing and deadlifting. First of all, he does not look like a young man anymore.
he never really did.
Right.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just pulling up to look at it.
His most recent video, like he's been getting progressively heavier in his training. So I've been watching these deadlifts that are all like 800 plus pounds, and he's doing them for like sets of 3 to 5, and every time, every rep looks easy. Every rep of every set he does looks pretty easy. Today, he posted his heaviest one that I've seen so far. It was like 410 kilograms, which I think is just over 900 pounds.
Yeah, for 3 reps, that looked way too easy.
Really easy. That's where I'm like, oh, this guy is like not just going to be pretty strong. He is not far away from being one of the strongest guys on the planet if he keeps it up at this rate, I would say. And he's still really young.
And it's on calibrated plates and everything too. Like,
And then, so like just previously before that, he's been posting some log press videos. I know there was one where he's doing 185 kilogram singles on the log press, which is
for 2 singles right
which
here.
is I think over 400, just over 400 pounds, right? Because that's like 405 pounds, 407, something like that.
185 times, 407, yeah.
Yeah, that he's doing for singles. This guy is the future. Is a good nickname for him because I think he is the future. I don't know what any of his other strongman events are like, but just
as far as static strength goes, it's moving.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
And for how young he is and everything, I hope this guy's competing at World's Strongest Man this year. Like he's just so insanely strong already, and seems like maybe he's going about it the right way. That he's not doing 100 competitions. He's just really focusing on getting
that
really,
base.
really strong before he like really jumps headfirst into it. But seems like he's going to make quite the splash once he really gets into competing with pros.
Is he 24 even? Like it's got to be about it.
Yeah,
it is, right?
Yeah. But like that deadlift, if you watch his 900 whatever it is deadlift for 3 reps. It's like, man, this guy could probably be close to pulling 1,000 pounds. I would think,
it doesn't seem out of the question at all to me watching this.
If not, he couldn't just with peaking now.
I would have a hard time believing he couldn't do 900 for 6 or more.
Right.
Looking at this video,
Yeah.
like that 3 is nothing.
I've never seen him do a rep since I've started watching that has looked hard.
Wow, I'm very impressed.
So just as far as someone worth checking out, if you don't already, I would.
Yeah, I actually thought I followed him. I actually didn't. Yeah. I think he's just one of those guys that he would get reposted on so many pages.
Right.
I thought I followed him, but this will be very interesting to see how the next few years go for him.
And the big X factor is his age. You might see other people doing this sort of thing that have been working on getting into strongman and stuff, but it's like he's like 23 or 24 or whatever we think he is. That's means he's got like 10 more years to continue to get stronger at a pretty fast rate, probably.
Yeah, that's nuts. Wow. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about him a lot over these over the next.
I'm curious to keep my eye on him there.
Next on the list we have Rob Kearney, and he recently broke the American log record. Do you remember at the top?
I think it's 475.
475, yeah. Looked pretty good. I mean, he does the jerk. He's like one of the only guys that does like a
split jerk.
Like a split jerk with his log. Looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more there, but also log is one of those things that it either goes or it doesn't.
Especially a split jerk.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially
you're not
a split jerk.
those out.
No, it's especially a split jerk. So did he maybe already had the record? I'm not sure if Robert Oberst had it at one point in time, but maybe Kearney had already broken it. But 475 is getting, it's not that far from the old 500. So maybe he'll eventually at some point be able to make the crack at the world record. But that was on ESPN. Mm-hmm. His log lift was on ESPN.
It was,
Okay. Well, that's cool again to see more and more of this popping up on ESPN.
It'll be interesting to see if this is just the fluke of the times,
right,
or if this stuff is going on a year from now. When I say this stuff, I mean these single lift things.
Yeah.
Assuming the rest of sports come back, will ESPN be like, you know what? Yeah, we do have a time slot open for you, or if they're like, no, screw it, we don't need you guys anymore.
Right.
I'm curious to see how that plays out. But with that though, so that was also a Giants Live thing. Not Giants Live, World Ultimate Strongman. Yeah. This weekend, by the time you hear this, it had already happened, but is the big bench party.
Right. So, and that's promoted by World's Ultimate Strongman, but it is a USPA, is it a USPA? I think it's a USPA meet.
Is it?
I think it is.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think
it was that or the WRPF.
I think it's a USPA meet. But I'm not positive on that. I could
so they can have the records actually count.
Right.
For powerlifting.
And it is a meet. I think I suppose it's an invitation only. That's another thing. Like, because there's the controversy back with Thor of like, does it count because it's not a competition and stuff like that? Well, when it comes to powerlifting, there are meets that are invite only.
Yep.
So. What's the number? How many does it have to be until
is 3 invite only? Is that allowed? Is 5 invite only allowed? Is it 2? Like what is the? And no, I mean there's no rule that exists for that. So it's
right. Yeah. But so who do we know that's lifting. Obviously, the headline is Julius is going to try the 800-pound bench, which that's what everyone wants to see very, very, very badly, I think, is that him do that 800-pound bench. Then I know that TD Smash, Thomas Davis, he is going to be going for 740, is what I've seen.
Is that the number?
So
he's
I
going
think
for?
740 is would be the second biggest bench all time, because I think Kirill's is like 739. So that would be the significance of the 740, I think.
Yep, that would make sense.
Which you start to forget now, like with Julius going for 800, that 740, 60 pounds less than that, is actually would make him the second heaviest bench presser of all time.
Yep. And then we have Perseus.
Yeah.
Perseus is on the list too.
Yeah, friend of the podcast. I think he's going for 600, which Perseus is, in comparison to those other guys, Perseus is
significantly
light.
Less.
Yeah.
Yes, lighter.
Perseus,
I'm not going to say smaller, because he's not small.
No.
It's just he doesn't weigh as much as those guys.
Right. If you don't follow him, but if you haven't seen him, you should follow him on Instagram too. It's _ Perseus, I think, is his handle. And Perseus hung out with us last year at the Arnold, hung out at our booth for a while, and Perseus is extremely jacked.
Yeah.
He is like what I think a lot of lifters, like people that are into powerlifting.
There is for sure very few powerlifters that are as jacked as
There's
Perseus.
a lot of powerlifters would like to be like, I want to be strong and look like that guy.
A lot. I would say all of them want to, yes. And also, a lot of powerlifters are under 6 feet. Perseus, I think, is 6'2", 6'3". He's not short
be.
either.
No. Yeah, he's somewhere around us, I think.
He's just as tall as us.
Yeah. And got a huge bench, too.
Yeah, and a big bench. Yeah, so he is an outlier for sure.
It is an outlier. And he competes at the 275 class, I think, doesn't he? Or is he heavier than that? Is he 308?
I think he's been moving his weight around a little bit.
Maybe he's getting heavier for this 600 attempt, too.
Yeah, I forget exactly what his weight is. Other guys on the list then. That Tony Sentmanat, the Real World Tactical guy. I didn't know I didn't even know he was involved in that.
He was doing it. Yeah.
James Dolman, Johnny Harris.
Johnny Harris is going for the lightest man ever to try 700.
Oh, really?
He, I think, bench 700 at like CT Fletcher's place, maybe like a non-sanctioned thing.
Oh.
So I think he's going to be maybe he's trying to be the lightest man ever to bench 700, I think is what because he's also a jack, he's also not the typical what you picture with the 700-pound benchers, I would say. He's a little bit smaller than Thomas Davis and Julius Maddox.
Yep. Then we have Luke Nall.
Luke Nall is a part of the Illinois syndicate.
Oh, is he?
He lifts with those guys at Gonzo Barbell.
I didn't know that's where he lifted.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
That is funny. Yeah, I didn't know that's where he was at.
Yeah.
Adrian Long and Andy Bogard.
Okay.
That's the list. Should be good.
Yeah.
And it's on ESPN.
So that's on Saturday? I mean, it's irrelevant to this podcast because just like Jake said, it's
June 20th.
A week old by the time you hear it.
Yeah, this is watching on Core Sports, but I'm pretty sure I saw today it said it's on ESPN. So
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's an exciting thing, especially when it's like people that we know.
Yeah, right.
On there, that's really cool.
All those guys are really nice too. Like,
they are. Yes,
I can say, we talked to Perseus, Julius,
all of them
Thomas Davis, all
2019.
All really good guys. Mm-hmm. I hope they all get what they're going for. That would make me pretty.
That
happy.
would be really cool to just see like everyone just hits all their lists for the day. And like, all right, that's how easy benching is. Huh? Yeah. This
That's a really bad example for people.
This will be probably the biggest time in American history where you have guys on TV being like, I knew someone that could do 600. I knew a guy that could bench 600. Yeah. Like, there's going to be like more has-been bench stories in that 1 hour or however long it goes on than any other time.
A buddy of mine in high school.
Oh, he was a freshman. He could bench 400.
And his dad.
Yep. He would have got to 600 if he didn't have to move away or if he didn't hurt his shoulder that one year. There's going to be a lot of that talk.
This will set up perfect for all those stories.
Yep. Just a softball for all those guys.
But I mean, Perseus is a buddy of ours, so we will get to be like, yeah, buddy of mine, he benches 600 pounds.
We do.
James Strickland, yeah, buddy of mine, he benches 675.
Yep. Yeah, we do have that card in our back pocket now.
But we have a little bit of an unfair advantage of being buddies with.
Nope. It's not unfair in any
Yeah.
way. It's just the way it is. Wow. So that pretty much takes care of all of our lifting news for this week.
That was a lot of good
That is
lifting
actually
news,
a lot
though.
of lifting news for this podcast lately.
That was an exciting amount of lifting news almost, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Between being back in action in studio and actually having good lifting stuff to talk
I think
about.
the dog's happy we're back in action here.
Doesn't seem all that impressed, but
Nope, just settling on
he
in.
doesn't seem unhappy,
No.
though.
Kind of picked an odd position to lay in.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
To each their own.
How about we play our overrated, underrated game?
Let's do it.
Our first one,
Before we,
yeah.
Actually, underrated, related. Someone has a boat, the boat named My Druthers.
Oh yeah, that's on someone mentioned to me that it's become a really popular show on Netflix. It's like it's not the beaches.
I haven't opened up Netflix for a week or two now.
Something, and it must take place
Near a body of water.
Yes, near a body of water. And half the people listening to are like, "Oh, you dump to this right now." They're like, "You dumbasses!" It's because it's apparently pretty popular. But because multiple people have sent me now that the boat on there is called My Druthers, which
that
is awesome.
Yeah,
It almost made me want to watch the show.
yeah.
Almost. Okay. Gotta find it here. We had so many topics here, sorting through them. All
So
of them.
varied.
Last week we covered stuffed crust pizza, Oakley's, Rob Dyrdek, and Crocs, of course. Did you know that Crocs are edible, I think? They can be eaten.
What?
They're non-poisonous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're not fatal.
Right.
I guess in the way that anything's edible.
But if you Google it, I think there's people that have eat them and that sort of thing.
God.
Okay. This week's topics of overrated, underrated for episode 220 of the Massenomics Podcast. Number 1, overrated or underrated? Red Lobster.
Red Lobster. Tanner, we live in a part of the country that's very landlocked.
Yes.
Very landlocked. Red Lobster is probably one of the only actual seafood restaurants that exist in our area. And when I say in our area, I'm using that term very loosely.
Yeah.
I'm meaning the upper Midwest.
Yeah.
God, completely honest, I think I've had Red Lobster 3 times in my adult life. You know, it's not something that's usually up high on my list of I got to get in there, but it is right in that vein of Chili's and places like that where people like to rag on it.
It is in that. It's in the middle class fancy group.
It
of
is very
restaurants.
much in that.
But
Family
Red Lobster's
of
kind of expensive, isn't it?
it's not cheap. I mean, it's seafood.
Yeah,
it is
right.
seafood. So
not expensive necessarily
it's
relative
not
to seafood, but to casual
you can
dining.
You can go to Applebee's and you can get food. You can eat for $10 or less.
Yeah. At Red Lobster, you're probably going to cost $20.
I think it's kind of hard to do that for a lobster unless you're
minimum.
getting chicken nuggets or
Right,
something.
right.
But yeah, if you're going to actually get entrees off the menu, I think you're usually looking at 30 or more.
Right.
The last time I ate it was probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I was actually kind of impressed. I was expecting it to be much worse than it was. I think because I have the middle class fancy thing in my head. I thought it was pretty good. Now, we don't like I said, we don't have real legit seafood restaurants around here, so it's hard for us to compare it to anything. Overrated or underrated? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say underrated.
Underrated.
It also doesn't get as much love in the middle class fancy realm of things.
Not as much as Chili's and Applebee's,
and Chili's and Outback, things like that. It is probably the most upper class of the
middle class fancy. Yeah. Okay, overrated or underrated? Deadwood, South Dakota.
Deadwood, South Dakota.
This might not be you might have to provide some context for most people, but I think people are aware of Deadwood, South Dakota, right?
I think people understand that Deadwood. They probably think of it as this old West town type thing, and the town exists because of tourism. It's this town nestled in the mountains in western South Dakota, out by Mount Rushmore. The Black Hills is where it's at. The thing with Deadwood, South Dakota, so I'm going to speak to it as more of I'm not going to say local point of view, but we get there a lot.
Right.
We have friends that live out. I have multiple friends that live out in that area. Had some family with a vacation home out there. So there was a while where we were getting there like almost every other month. Like I was
Yeah.
getting to Deadwood a lot. So to the point where you got to see it outside of just the holiday
Right.
time. So when you go on like just a regular Saturday night, you go to Deadwood. Okay, so you have all these very old West style bars. You go in, a lot of them, it's just like, it's a bar. You know, it's just a bar.
Yeah.
There's not much going on. It's like any small town bar. You go in and there's more decor and ambiance than your average bar. But if you go on a busy night,
Mardi Gras,
New Year's,
St. Patrick's Day.
any holiday, Halloween,
pub crawl.
yep. Anytime there's a holiday, it is completely packed.
Yeah.
Like to the point where that town, these buildings that were built in 18 something, they
Yeah.
can't accommodate the crowds they have.
Right.
It can be a lot of there's two ways that can go though, and I've been on both sides of it, where it's really, really fun because it's like, oh, it's crazy, there's so much stuff going on.
Or it's like unbearable.
He just put like $300 down on a blackjack hand, and like it's like all this, like, because while this is all going on, the town makes a lot of its money on gambling, like card games actually.
Right.
And so like if you're into gambling, yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can play blackjack for $5 a hand. Can't really do that in Vegas.
I know from experience you can also just play for hours on end too.
You can play. They have poker.
Yeah.
You can get involved in a poker game.
But I know we've talked about it
yeah.
before, but the best story is that, so this is like a 6-hour drive for us. It's not like right down
Yeah,
the road.
It's hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
Right.
Yeah, you don't accidentally get
no,
there.
No, it's a common place we go because it's an attraction, but it's not close. And one time,
Well,
we
it
did
was
not,
this.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
your bachelor party, Tanner. We went on your bachelor party.
Right.
I watched you. I didn't know this. None of my friends are hard poker players. You and a lot of your buddies are. I didn't know people like you got to this table at saloon number 10.
Yeah.
You sat down, and I think you were at that table for like 7 or 8
Probably
hours.
like too long,
Yeah,
but
like way
it's just
too,
really
like we were like there's another group of us like bar hopping, and
Yeah.
it's like, where are those guys? And we make our way back to the
Like,
bars.
oh, they're still there.
at that table still, like they haven't moved.
Yeah.
And so that was like I had this memory in my head of you at that table forever.
Yeah.
Well, then I unannounced, like it was like real last second. There was a weekend where shortly after that, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I think she was with me. We decided, yep, we're going to Deadwood. And so we went to Deadwood with
Yeah.
some people. I go into saloon number 10. At that same poker table is Tanner again.
It's like, has he been here all
It's like-
these weeks?
Yeah. How long have you been here? Like, it's hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
It took a lot of effort to get here, and you're back at that table playing poker again. So, yeah, that's always like my funny story of that bar. But Deadwood, it is one of those places. I think it is probably underrated. I think everyone should go at some point. If you like skiing and snowboarding, it's right there too. Like the
And
best
hiking,
lots of hiking trails,
like
and just
pretty cool hiking actually too.
tourism in general.
Yeah.
And if you like gambling, well, I mean, yeah, you got all your gambling right there. That's
Yeah,
all
and
going to happen for you.
You can see the tourism, all the Wild Bill,
Yeah.
Gold Rush,
all that stuff.
That stuff.
And there is one bar called the Bodega
Yes,
where
the
they
Bodega.
get some pretty wild like
DJs
dance parties
and-
going with
yeah.
DJs to the point where I almost have like thought my ears are bleeding when I leave there before.
Yes,
but,
yes.
that can always turn into a pretty good time. So I will say Deadwood is underrated.
Yeah, and I think you need to make sure to get there for a couple of the occasions. You need to
Yeah.
experience it not on the big occasions and also on like the New Year's Eve occasion.
Yeah, you got to see it both ways.
Yeah.
Either way, you got to make sure you go with a group of people because
Yes.
it's just way more fun that way.
Yeah, it's great for like bachelor. I've went to a lot of bachelor parties there, like
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. You said underrated
I
though
did
on
say
Deadwood.
underrated.
Okay. Overrated or underrated Pit Viper sunglasses.
They are really picking up steam
Yeah.
here lately. Do you know has Pit Viper been around forever, or do they just?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, I haven't looked into them that hard. I don't know, and there's definitely people listening that know the answer to this. I don't know if Pit Viper is a brand that has existed since the 80s, or if they are just going after the 80s
Right,
aesthetic.
right.
I don't know what that answer is. They definitely got a style to them.
Jonathan Oldham should probably get sponsored by
He should
them.
get a sponsorship by
Yeah.
them. He would be the strongest person on their team without a doubt. I'll say Pit Vipers are underrated.
They look kind of cool. They have a cool.
You do got to look.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
You saw John Oldham did two things recently, but what I really
he's
impressed
done a
by
few things
he
lately.
did the full Crispy Boy gamut shotgunning,
The
and
Crispy Boy shotgun.
and he
that
did
was-
them in order
Yep.
of the correct beer,
He-
and two of them were pounders.
He is a traditionalist in that
Yes,
sense. He's
yes.
not going to go out of order on this. Some people would even call that a light flight. Working your way through all these little light beers.
Right, a light flight. Except he didn't have a sample of each one. He shotgunned a full one in about a minute.
That was impressive.
That was very impressive.
That's a lot of volume.
And then he also did that soaring through the air. And you see he's drinking a beer while he did that, too.
I didn't catch that at first until I was really zooming in and inspecting the finer details of the photo. And that was a really well put together photo.
That was. He caught some good air on that, too. He got some really
good air. Yeah, he got the dunk still, drinking the beer mid-air in his Speedo. Yeah, he did a lot of things right there.
He certainly got to look down well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. It's going really good for him. I'd say just keep pushing that even harder, Jonathan. Keep doing it.
Massenomics sponsored athlete.
Yep.
Jonathan Oldham.
We know how to pick him.
Yes. If only would have known he was going to be doing these things when we made that deal with him. Okay, last one. Overrated or underrated? DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
You know I'm a techie.
Yep, I know you are a techie. I spend most of my day on the internet, not like just browsing the internet, but
you just search it, just like
seeing how the searches are going. No, the nature of my job, I am at a computer all day, and when you're at a computer all day, a lot of that involves a healthy dose of Google. But one thing that I think a lot of people, I don't want to get this into too long of a rant, but internet privacy, it is absolutely shocking what companies can collect on you. If you do even a little bit of looking, it is scary how much people are collecting profiles on you now that you don't even know. There's actually firms that just collect data on you and then sell that packaged data to you that, oh, okay, we know that this guy has an account at this website. He's bought this stuff. He's probably statistically, he's in this age group. Like, there's a lot of stuff people know about you, and then they're selling that to other companies. So it's kind of creepy. If you use Google Chrome, which until very recently, Google Chrome was my browser of choice. Because that's one of Google's products, it all ties into their stuff where Google can really start to know a lot about you. So if you want to take privacy more,
I've heard Mozilla is a pretty
if you want to take your privacy more seriously, this was something that I did recently. I made the change to Firefox. I hadn't been on Firefox for a very long time. Once you get used to it, just a few graphical changes, it's all the same from a browsing experience. So if you want to get serious about your online security, you can get on Firefox. They have a variety of plugins. I don't know if Firefox calls them plugins or add-ons, but plugins that can turn on security certificates everywhere. There's a privacy badger to stop things. Facebook basically tracks you everywhere on the internet. So there's some Facebook containers, things that'll block Facebook in a little bit. There's always you don't realize how many ads you run across on the internet either until you install an ad blocker and then it turns off. There's an insane amount of ad tracking that goes on, so you can turn that on. One thing that I didn't know about that I found recently that I enjoyed is if you've ever, I think everyone could say they've maybe been on a website, a blog or something, and they have something you want, but they want your email address, and you're like, I don't want to give you my email address. There's a thing there's temporary email accounts you can get. So all it is it's a plugin. The plugin makes a fake email account. That email account exists for 10 minutes. And then that email account just sits, and whatever you sign up for, it'll send stuff to that account. It opens it up in another tab. You get the thing you want. You don't have to worry about anyone taking your email account.
Right.
Their account, they're having a data breach. They're going to someone else getting your email account. So that was a cool thing too. But now this goes back to the thing of DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
What is DuckDuckGo? I have maybe used DuckDuckGo a couple times ever. It's just a search engine that's not Google. And you say, well, what's the importance of that? Well, Google knows everything about you, whether you want them to or not. So I think it is really underrated, and not many people know it exists. I've heard actually more people saying recently that
seems like it's maybe gaining some steam.
I think it is gaining some steam. The big one being the privacy, and then people are finding that search engines are starting to have a certain amount of biases in them.
Right.
Which is it's a thing that's made. People make it. It's going to have a bias in it somehow, one way or another.
But what I tell me if this is right. What Google is the best at is the search. What the results that they give you are what you're looking for. And what DuckDuckGo is getting better at is that that they for sure have the best privacy, or they have the privacy is far and away much better than Google's. But the issues with other search engines like Bing or some of those other ones is they're not giving you
the answer to your
Right,
question.
right,
like
right.
you type in a phrase and somehow they're finding like that literal phrase, but that's not actually what you mean.
Right,
Like,
right.
And, or the source that they took it from wasn't like the best source. Yeah. And so that is still, Google is the best at that. But
Right.
people have been saying, I've been seeing more of it recently, of people saying how like Google is doing more of like what they think that you should see and not really what you want to see,
Right.
or what they determine to be the best source, and
Right.
not necessarily. And that gets really complicated because it goes into search engine optimization and all
Yep.
this stuff too. Of well, what really is the best for any of this? That a lot
Right.
of that is very subjective, but
Yeah, which Google basically gets to decide what the world.
they kind of
Thanks,
do. I
we-
think
yeah.
they say like 80, it's like 82 or something % of all searches in the world happen through Google.
Yeah.
So to be popping up high on Google, there's a
Yeah.
not only like an importance factor there, but a money factor too for your company to get that figured out. So it'll be really interesting to see if DuckDuckGo can like continue to make some headway here. I think until recently, I never ran across anyone mentioning DuckDuckGo except like in very like techie spots on the internet.
Right.
And I'm starting to see people talk about it in much broader communities now. So
It's even mentioned on the Massenomics
and
podcast.
it's being mentioned on the Massenomics podcast even. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think Google is going to go anywhere anytime soon, but yeah, maybe they can chip away at it a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe they can keep Google a little more honest too, to the point where it's like,
yeah, it's if Chrome is your browser, you have Gmail, and you're using Facebook, and you don't have anything set on any of those.
They know it all.
There's a good chance
They've got it all.
Everything in your internet is like they know. Those companies know exactly what's going on at all times. Yeah, it gets. And then also, if you have a Gmail account and you're using Chrome, you probably don't realize it, but you're also logged into the Chrome browser. And that was the other one that annoyed me. Is like, I just watched YouTube. Why am I logged into the browser now too, where the browser's remembering everything I do?
Right.
And so that's another one of those things where like you don't know it, but like the second you log into Google or into Gmail or YouTube, it's almost like by default the browser's dumping you, or you're logging into the browser. It's like, I don't want to be logged into this browser. I just want to use it as a window to see things. I don't want to have an account in this, and they make you do it. Be careful out there, people.
Be safety first. It's never an accident.
Nope.
Okay. Should we wrap this one up, do you think?
I think we should.
For our first one back in the saddle?
Back in the saddle.
Just like riding a bike,
We'll have
isn't
to
it?
get that Aerosmith song going.
Uh-huh.
Back in the saddle again.
I'm back.
Yeah.
All right. What about our stuff? We talked about all this other
Ooh,
stuff.
our stuff, yeah.
We did talk about our store a little bit. The 8-bit powerlifting shirt is the newest. We do have a lot of cool new stuff coming. We
Yep.
have some cool
Not
new...
saying you shouldn't buy stuff now.
No,
You should
no,
still
no.
buy stuff now.
Buy
but,
the stuff now.
If you are a person that has a budget, make sure you have some room in that budget for probably
New
the month of
stuff.
July.
We also this is a little farther off, but we're also working on something that's a non-apparel item. I can't say anything more than that, but just
It is lifting
fun to-
related,
yeah.
but it is not apparel.
Right, so stay tuned for that. More details to follow. Good incentive to come back to listen next week, I suppose.
Yep.
That's it. Tommy, where do they find you on?
Oh, we got to do
Oh,
ads, Tanner.
God.
Don't
I guess
get
it's
too
not like
excited
riding a
there.
bike, is it? I knew there was something. I had this sinking feeling that there was something. We would have had hell to pay, wouldn't we?
We would have.
Answering to these four. They can all get down our throats, get down the back of our neck pretty fast if we do something like that. Today's show is brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large has set a new standard for customer service within the strength world. They have live website chat support and speedy email responses. Lifting Large is home of the Ground Lock Deadlift Slipper, and they are always in stock and ready to ship. Massenomics listeners, because they're so cool, can save 20% on all Lifting Large branded products by using the discount code MASS20 at checkout. Today's episode is also brought to you by Spud Inc. The goal of Spud Inc. straps is to make products that support sports performance and help everyone achieve their training goals. They make products that last forever, won't bust your budget, and most importantly, leave no doubt about success when everything is on the line. Check them out online at spud-inc-straps.com. This episode is also brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. They're your one-stop shop for all things fitness and online coaching. Whether your goals are training-related, nutrition and body composition-related, or both, Hybrid has a program for you. With dedicated and experienced coaches in each strength and fitness discipline, you can rest assured that you're in the best hands possible. Use our discount code there. It's MASS, M-A-S-S, in all caps for 5% off any training or nutrition memberships for the life of your membership. Visit hybridperformancemethod.com. This episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. In 1980, Buddy Cap set out on his mission to make make what he believed was the greatest bar. I almost forgot what Buddy did in 1980. He had ever seen.
Don't ever forget it.
And trained with. So the Texas Power Bar was born. It was strong as a house, and it had the best knurling, and it was maintenance-free. Hundreds of state, national, international, and world powerlifting records have been set and continue to be set and broken on the Texas Power Bar. To learn more about Texas Power Bars and Buddy Caps and to buy one of their own legendary bars, visit texaspowerbars.com. The other thing I thought of, I catch myself thinking of other things when I read these.
You start thinking.
Yeah, as the Crispy Boy 30 shirts for 30 days still going on. You still, if you haven't won one yet, you still have a chance. You just got to keep commenting
New
on
shirts
Instagram.
going out every day.
Yeah, one a day for 30 days, about halfway through.
Yeah.
All right, so, Tommy, Instagram.
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
I'm at Tanner_Baird. More importantly, Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.
Later.